I watched a certain video by Lynn Ngugi, and it was about the whole thing, history ya affordable housing. At the same time, there's a documentary imetolewa na BBC with hijacked buildings in Johannesburg. Buildings that have been hijacked by goons who ask for rent. And I watched a documentary on the story ya Johannesburg. And I have an honest issue with history ya affordable housing. Because for me, don't just look at the projects themselves. Look at what is actually going to happen to them in future. Because the future for such buildings is that you're going to find that they're going to be so neglected. Angalia hizo nyumba. Right now, we are going to be so happy about having affordable housing units. But the question is, will these houses have electricity even in future? Will they even have water? Will they have proper sewage treatment? Will they have everything to make sure that they are running? Who is going to be responsible for these houses? Who is going to be taking care of them? At the end of the day, it's not about constructing the houses. It's about maintaining and making sure that they can stand for a long term. Because, angalia, like ukitaka kununua gari, you can buy the vehicle, yes. But there's one thing people forget. They forget about the cost of running the vehicle. Buying a vehicle from the yard and driving it is not the final thing. You need to think about, hiyo gari scratchiwa, how much is it going to cost you to paint? Hiyo gari ikiharibika ukiibiwa side mirror, what is going to happen? You see, those are the things that we don't factor in. And that is why you find someone buys a vehicle, it goes in a scratchiwa, it has to stay in the house for a very long time, mpaka mtu apate pesa ya maintain that vehicle. So people don't think about the cost of maintenance. They think about the cost of ownership. Yes, you bought a 5 million Kenya shilling vehicle, but are you aware of the running cost and the cost of maintaining the unit? Ukiangalia history ya affordable housing, and I'm not against it in any manner, but in a way we have to think critically. Because most of the things that are happening right now with affordable housing is that we are seeing fancy buildings. But the question is time will tell. Utaona itakuwa a Netflix documentary. Number one, you're going to see a lot of abandoned buildings. Number two, people are going to leave these units because you'll be tired of them. Number one, why? Because you're going to be experiencing a lot of issues with electricity, sewage treatment, water issues. So you'd rather ishi ploti ya Kamau ama Jogona ama Odhiambo ama anyone else than stay in such a unit because number one, government is not known to keep its promises. Look at things like stadiums. This money should be spent taking care of stadiums. This money should be spent, making our education systems better. But ideally, what our politicians believe in is that they believe in constructing things. That is why you're going to see them rushing to construct buildings, because that is what we can see. But the question is, do we have systems in order to make sure that these things are sustainable even in future? Yes, they're going to be looking grand and new. But the question is, will they stand the long term? And for me, the question I'd like to pose to you, because we are slowly headed to an electioneering process, yeah? Do we need leaders who construct things just for a period of time? Or do we need leaders who create systems that can even benefit us from 10 to 15 years? Because look at it, the education system is failed, right? We have a failed education system. Why aren't we rectifying that? Because our politicians know that we cannot see that. Because changing an education system is going to take time. And these are systems. We cannot see that. But constructing roads, building bridges, building simple houses that will be a problem even in future, we can see that. And then we can say yes. And the thing that you realize in 2027 is that you're going to realize most politicians are going to be campaigning with projects. That is why you're realizing that right now you're finding a lot of carpeting of roads. You're going to see a lot of these rushed projects that are affordable housing, because that is what they'll use. Now, I'm trying to think out loud as a Kenyan, trying to tell you this. Don't just see the projects. You want to see the systems behind the projects. Can the same politicians live in these houses? There's a question I saw Lynn Ngugi saying, and I think it's time for us as Kenyans to also amplify this. We don't want to be in a point where Johannesburg is. I think you need to go and watch that documentary so that you get to understand the magnitude of what I'm talking about. So yeah, follow for more and listen, just watch the documentary for yourself.